2014 and the Chaukidar campaign from 2019, which the BJP successfully used to set the narrative in both of those elections, or will this peter out? Because later this evening, Rahul Gandhi came out and said that Modi's Asli Parivar is actually Adani. So will this get mired in politics, or will this be a narrative-defining campaign?
मेरा भारत, मेरा परिवार।
ज्यादा संतान होने वाले लोगों को बोलता कि परिवारवाद है, परिवार के लिए लोग लड़ रहे हैं। तुम्हारे पास परिवार नहीं है।
जिसका कोई नहीं है, वो भी मोदी के हैं और मोदी उनका है।
समाज के लिए और राष्ट्र को परम वैभव तक ले जाने के संकल्प के साथ अपने परिवार को छोड़ा था, तो उसी क्षण उन्होंने यह संकल्प ले लिया था कि अब ये पूरा देश मेरा परिवार है।
All right, first let's take you through when such personal attacks in past election campaigns have backfired and not necessarily bolstered the opposition's case. It has only ended up giving more fodder to the BJP. In 2002, in the famous Gujarat election after the Godhra riots, Sonia Gandhi had famously called Narendra Modi, then Chief Minister of Gujarat, as Maut Ka Saudagar. This was, of course, ahead of the 2007 elections. The result, the Congress lost the 2007 Gujarat polls. In 2014, most famously, Manishankar Iyer, who was a minister in the then UPA government, had said that Narendra Modi is a neech aadmi and that he's capable of only selling chai at the AICC headquarters. The result, Modi won the 2014 and the 2017 Gujarat elections quite convincingly. In fact, Manishankar Iyer, like I said, had said famously that Modi can only sell chai at the AICC headquarters. The BJP swept the 2014 general elections. BJP alone had 282 seats. Rahul Gandhi had famously made the Khoon ki Dalali jibe. The result, the BJP won the 2017 UP Assembly polls with a stellar margin. Rahul Gandhi also cited the Supreme Court, claiming it had said, Chaukidar chor hai. In a major embarrassment, he was forced to apologize to the Supreme Court. And the BJP started something called Main Bhi Chaukidar campaign, for which, of course, the BJP won the 2019 election. Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president, had referred to Prime Minister Modi as Ravan. The BJP later swept the 2022 Gujarat polls. And most recently, in the 2023 winter elections, Rahul Gandhi had called Prime Minister Panoti after the Indian cricket team's World Cup loss. The Congress ended up losing in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan, and in Chhattisgarh. So, the BJP is hoping to turn this into a counter campaign, much like they did with Main Bhi Chaukidar Hoon in 2019, and of course the famous Chai Pe Charcha in 2014. But will this work, or will this be a passing comment? Let me now go across to our guests who are joining us. Tuhin Sinha is national spokesperson of the BJP. Madhu Gaud Yaski is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Sumansi Raman, author and political analyst. Tushar Gupta, senior journalist, also joining us. Let me start with Madhu Gaud Yaski. You know, the Congress and other opposition parties have done this in the past, and it seems like, Mr. Yaski, you have not learnt your lesson, whether it was Chaiwala in 2014, whether it was Chaukidar in 2019. It has only served Mr. Modi's purpose every time the opposition makes a personal jibe at him.
Jaka, I'm really surprised. How come you only pick and choose? During elections, Mr. Modi makes so many statements, our opposition parties. Why can't we discuss what Mr. Modi has promised in 2014, that he will bring back those black money stationed abroad within 100 days and he will deposit 15 lakhs into every citizen of India's account. He promised 2 crore jobs to the youth of India. Why can't we discuss those? You are only talking about those slogans and what Mr. Modi even talks about late Pandit Nehruji. How many years ago he passed away? Is it practice of Mr. Modi to defame the national icons? And he owns Sardar Patel to Manmohan Singh ji to P.V. Narasimha Rao. They are all Congress party prime ministers. And this is the practice. Instead of we discussing about the failures of the current Modi ji's government, and we are only talking about a statement made by few opposition leaders and forgetting whatever Mr. Modi makes against the leaders, and he hugged them, he accused those leaders of corruption, and when they join the BJP, there is no discussion at all. Right from Sujana Chaudhary to so many leaders of opposition MPs accused of embezzling public money, looting banks, and they joined BJP party and everything is Ganga Jal ho jata hai, clean ho jata hai.
Okay. So let me ask Tuhin Sinha, the Congress spokesperson, saying we should be talking about the false promises that Mr. Modi made in 2014 and in 2019, the unkept promises, and instead the media is just focused on these personal attacks, which of course suits the BJP because every time there's a personal attack against the Prime Minister, it tends to work for him electorally. Tuhin.
Well, good evening, Zaka. Good evening, everybody. I don't think the Congress should be pontificating on this issue because the Congress leader, Rahul Gandhi, he needs a crash course on MRP, MSP and GST, whether petrol and diesel are included under GST. So those who don't even have the basic ability to raise the right issues should not be lecturing us. Point is, Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, from a very young age, has sacrificed his family bonds to dedicate himself wholeheartedly and entirely to the cause of the nation. So his family is 140 crore people. That explains why he works till 3:30 in the night and then starts his day again at 8 in the morning for a full day of multiple rallies and then comes back to Delhi in the night for another round of meetings. That can only happen when you don't treat your job as an official responsibility, but see it as a vocation, see it as a dedication towards your family. Yesterday, there was a meeting of the Council of Ministers. Imagine at the fag end of his second term, he's convening a meeting of the Council of Ministers to decide on the agenda for the next 100 days. That can only happen when you treat your job as a vocation and all your countrymen and all the citizens of your country as your family members. Okay. But unfortunately, this opposition, and especially professional and habitual scamsters like Lalu Yadav, have misused the term family for self-aggrandizing and vicious initiatives. We all know that, in the heart of Delhi in Saket, a bungalow worth some 130 crores was acquired by his family by paying a few lakhs. These are the shady activities which these politicians from opposition parties indulge in. By the way, when Congress...
at a time when Parivarvad is seen as with negative connotations and that dynastic politics is looked down upon, the the opposition parties, in this case Mr. Lalu Prasad, to give this issue on a platter to the BJP and to the Prime Minister, it just doesn't make any sense. Why would the opposition, A, not having learned from Chaukidar and Chaiwala in the previous elections, now is also picking on an issue which is again playing on the BJP's turf? It's not an opposition strong issue. It's a BJP strong issue.
Zaka, I think first of all, I will say probably Mr. Lalu Yadav should not have said what he did. Having said that, I think this whole issue of these personal attacks, resulting in election defeats for the opposition in 2014 and, perhaps to a lesser extent in 2019, Mr. Modi was seen in 2014, certainly he was seen as an outsider, and he was seen as this, person coming from a humble background who is aspiring for the highest office in the land, so on. And to some extent in 2019, thanks to his, ability to communicate, he kept that narrative going. I don't think that, the losses that the Congress got in Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan or Chhattisgarh had anything to do with the Panauti remark. And maybe if Rahul Gandhi had not said Panauti, I don't believe the Congress would have won those states. So that is besides the point. The point really is that Mr. Tuin Sinha mentioned about Lalu Yadav being corrupt and convict and so on. Now, obviously, this corruption is only as long as he is an opposition leader. We remember what the Prime Minister spoke about.
He's
Mr.
a convicted criminal, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But the thing is, he's not been purified yet because he's not joined the BJP. Mr. Ajit Pawar, who made the charges against Mr. Ajit Pawar?
No, you are accusing the courts. I'm sorry, you are casting aspersions on the judiciary.
No, Mr. Sinha, you're not understanding. Either you are saying that you went on and made false charges against Narayan Rane, against Sujana Chaudhary, against
They
Ajit
have never
Pawar,
been convicted. You're drawing a wrong equivalence.
sorry.
Family.
Sir,
They have the people you are mentioning have never been convicted.
One second, Dr. Raman, but I think that's an important distinction. Lalu Yadav has been convicted in multiple forest scam cases, not one.
Yes. No, the point really is that today Mr. Lalu Yadav is, on the face of it, attracting such a mammoth crowd that we saw here at the Gandhi Maidan in Patna 3 days ago. Now, the point is, I'm not saying whether that is right or wrong. That is a different debate altogether. But the point is, there are dozens of politicians who have been accused by the BJP of corruption and of the worst kind of misdeeds, who are now either supporting BJP governments or within the BJP itself. Let's be very clear on that, Zaka. And the cases against them have all come to a mysterious grinding halt.
So let me ask Tushar.
None of them have been acquitted.
Let me ask Tushar this. Leave aside the Parivarwad jibe and the Prime Minister trying to turn the tables back on the opposition by getting everyone in the BJP to say Modi ka Parivar. I don't know if that will be a narrative defining or narrative setting issue. But I think what is clear is that you have barely a week to go before the dates are announced. The BJP seems to be off the block. They've already declared 195 candidates. The manifesto is being publicized and popularized in tours that leaders are taking across the country. On the other hand, the India alliance has still not stitched up its alliances. The Congress is still saying that it wants to fight 250, 275 seats, but I don't see any candidate list being put out. The BJP has declared almost 200 candidates on Saturday. They seem to have gotten off the blocks much faster. I mean, what I'm trying to get at is, it seems like the BJP is getting to a head start in this election, but the opposition is still not able to get its act together.
Good evening, Zaka. Let's get a couple of things out of the way. Number one, the opposition doesn't want to learn. In 2014, they called him an outsider. In 2019, it was Chaukidar Chor Hai. Today, they're asking whereabouts of his family. They are mocking him. Look at how the country is responding. And this is not political ignorance being displayed by the opposition. This is ground ignorance. If only the leaders who are making such remarks every now and then, be it from the Congress or from the RJD, had met the women who have been empowered by this government through Mudra loans, through Awas Yojana, through Jandan accounts, through the self-help groups, or the farmers through FPOs or the Kisan Samman Yojana or any other welfare program. This government has created 100 crore Labharthis. Those Labharthis resonate with the Prime Minister. They welcome him as they would welcome a family member. Now, how can this be missed by the opposition? How can they not understand the resonance between the voters and the Prime Minister? Nevertheless, coming to the India Alliance, Zaka, 6 months ago, the alliance was formed. We were told this is going to be the grand alliance that's going to take down the opposition. Did you just see what was going on in the Punjab State Assembly today? The Chief Minister bickering with the leader of the opposition in a very crude language and some of very absurd language, and that LOP is from the Congress. And we are told there is an alliance of the Congress and Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab. We were told there is an alliance of the Congress and Mamata Banerjee in Bengal. Do you see even a single list? We are told that because Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress have 7 declarations in Delhi, there is an alliance in place. But does this alliance look like one which will win an election? And coming to the 195
what
candidates,
Mr. Nitish Kumar was talking about Narendra Modi and BJP when he was aligned with the RJD and Congress in Bihar. You forgot that.
Then why could you not retain Nitish Kumar? You were the
What was he
ones
talking
who were
about
brought
Narendra Modi
together by
and
Nitish
BJP?
Kumar. Sir, please listen. You were the ones who were brought together by
And you
Nitish
suddenly
Kumar.
aligned,
At
now
the
you
end,
hug him
Nitish
and-
No,
Kumar
but
dumped
Yaski
you.
Saab, what happened to Nitish Kumar? Nitish Kumar left.
about
He
Ajit
was
Pawar?
he was one of the founding leaders of the India Alliance. What happened to him? You were not able to retain him.
Zaka.
He went off.
Zaka, one final
Two
point,
things.
one important
No, no.
point. Of the
See,
195
BJP
seats
spokesperson
for which the
talking about-
candidates have been declared, the
About
BJP
the
won
alliance with
160
Aam
of them in
Aadmi and My
2019.
question to him,
They're already on the
what
trot for
about
the
he
seats
is
that they
making
want
the
to win again
statements
in
what
2024.
the
Okay.
Congress or Aam
Let-
Aadmi spoke about each other?
No, Mr.
What about
Yaski.
Nitish
No, one
spoke
second.
about Modi and
One second, Mr. Yaski. I'm asking my producer if they can pull out that clip. This was Bhagwant Mann and Mr. Bajwa, the Congress leader of the opposition in Punjab, having a complete go at each other. Public meltdown was happening between the two of them in the full glare of television cameras.
please
But be
ask
that as
your
it may. No, be that as it may. I have a larger question to ask. Mr. Yaski, please hear me out. 10 seconds. I have a larger question to ask. Ever since Rahul Gandhi started the Bharat Jodo Yatra, Mamata Banerjee has said she's going to contest in Bengal alone. Mr. Nitish Kumar has left the India Alliance lock, stock and barrel. Even with the Samajwadi Party in Uttar Pradesh, you still have not publicly finalized and announced seat sharing. So please, and of course with the Aam Aadmi Party, like I said, in Delhi, a 4-3 formula has been agreed. Who the candidates are, we don't know. In Punjab, it does not apply. In fact, Bhagwant Mann today in that whole, complete public sparring match he had with Mr. Bajwa, he said, go and tell Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, we don't want your seats in Gujarat and in Maharashtra and in Haryana. We'll fight on our own. He said this publicly. This is a sitting chief minister of your alliance partner, Mr. Yaski.
Will you allow me to reply?
Yeah, I am. Yes,
Allow
of
me
course.
to reply? Yes.
Of course.
Thanks, you are asking for that. Please, can you also pull up the statements made by Mr. Nitish Kumar when he is aligned with RJD and Congress in Bihar, what he spoke about Narendra Modi ji and BJP party and government. Please also pull up the Ajit Pawar statements or Mr. Modi ji's statements against Ajit Pawar. What kind of statement he made. Please also pull up the statements of Chandrababu Naidu, TDP party and BJP party when they aligned in 2014 and 2018 they left and fought fighting each other. What Mr. Babu has said about Modi and Modi ji what said about Chandrababu Naidu. Please pull out those statements also. What about your Punjab Lokdal, Badal party, Akali Dal? What they were together and now they're fighting each other.
One
Can't pull up those also.
One second.
You're
Let him
asking
finish
us
though. Yeah.
our partners and differences. Please pull up those also.
Okay.
One distinction.
So,
Zaka,
Tushar,
one
yeah,
distinction.
you have one distinction
One
from what Mr.
distinction.
Yaski has said. Huh?
One distinction with all humility for the Congress spokesperson. Sir, you are fighting or your alliance partners are fighting after the alliance has been declared. The BJP and the current allies it had, they sorted out their differences and then they entered into an alliance. Let's understand the distinction at play here. Your parties came together 6 months ago.
Okay.
They promised a grand alliance against the BJP and now they are feuding amongst themselves.
No, but
In the case of the
one
BJP,
second.
they are-
One second. You've made that point. Let me go to Tuhin and to Dr. Raman after this.
I'll
One
give
second,
you
sir. One
answer
second,
for
please.
that.
One second.
That
Let
new
me
ECI
please
is
go to
working on behalf of
Tuhin.
Mr. Modi,
Let me
that
please
is
go to
ED,
Tuhin and to
CBI
Dr.
and income
Raman.
tax.
Yeah.
Tuhin, the point is that allies sometimes spar, sometimes don't. The BJP is not necessarily always had the best of allies with Shiv Sena when you were aligned with Uddhav Thackeray, and since you come from Mumbai, the kind of things he said even while he was in your alliance was not exactly pleasant. So you can't judge the effectiveness or otherwise of an alliance simply by what the allies are saying about each other. It's about whether it works on the ground. Tuhin.
You're talking about alliance partners. Fact is that Rahul Gandhi is being insulted by his own CM, Revant Reddy. Today Revant Reddy says that, he will follow the Gujarat model of development in Telangana and he calls Modi ji his elder brother. Now Rahul Gandhi says that Modi ji ka ek hi parivar hai, Adani. 2 months ago, or 1 month ago rather, in January, we saw Revanta Reddy reach out to Adani abroad. So who takes Rahul Gandhi seriously? You are talking about, our alliance partners in the past sparring at us, but today, even within the Congress party, nobody takes Rahul Gandhi seriously. That is the Congress spokesperson wants you to pull statements of Nitish Kumar in the past. I want him to pull the statements of his own party workers. Why is Revanth Reddy not treating Rahul Gandhi seriously?
Mr. Yaski, you come from that state, you're from that city.
Yes.
He's your chief minister. Look at what he has said today about Mr. Modi.
Yes. Yes, what let me make it very clear. What Mr. Revanth Reddy said it is, Prime Minister is like a big brother. He didn't
Did
say
he meet
that you are my
Adani or
big
not?
brother. So you are Prime Minister of the country. You are not Prime Minister of a particular BJP ruled states only. So what is mentioned is that if you want to have this 5 trillion economy, you have to take 5 global cities, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore and Hyderabad also into conference and help develop these states also. Like you did in Gujarat, you are helping Gujarat so much.
No, that's a
Help
misinterpretation.
Telangana also to
No,
prosper. So
Okay.
that was the statement
What is
he
he
made.
saying?
He made it in
Zaka, that is not what Revanth Reddy
Okay.
said.
Hindi.
Zaka,
And that was very clear. he said.
Dr. Sumant
And
Raman,
regarding
yeah.
Adani's investment.
Yeah.
Zaka,
Well,
just
Because
one
one
second.
second, one second, Mr. Yaski. Let
Let me make it very clear.
Dr. Sumant Raman come in. Yeah.
Zaka, one quick statement is what
Dr.
Mr. Rahul
Dr.
Gandhi
Sumant
is
Raman,
again and
yeah.
again saying,
Yeah,
don't
Zaka,
monopolize.
No, just 1 second, please. Zaka, two quick points. One, I think the concept of the India alliance has not been understood. The India alliance has come together purely at the national level to attempt to defeat the BJP. Every one of their leaders said that. In the early press meets, they said very clearly, we continue to be rivals at the state level. I don't think Mr. Tuhin Sinha has seen those press conferences where the leaders of Aam Aadmi Party, leaders of the Congress Party explicitly said, we continue to be rivals at the state level. We are coming together for one purpose at the national level and for this one election period. So therefore, to say that Mr. Bajwa was shouting at Mr. Maan, I don't know what how this impacts the India alliance, except that it can be used as propaganda.
No,
Or,
one second.
or-
Dr. Raman, I'll tell you what. The basic idea of all these parties coming together, of course, was to defeat the BJP. And the strategy that they said would be the strategy to defeat the BJP was if they can find common candidates in maximum number of seats against the BJP candidate, right? So, for example,
By the way,
if
Delhi Aam Aadmi Party
yeah.
announced its candidate.
Yeah, one
You
second.
said
So
they have not
in
announced.
Delhi,
We
for
don't know
example,
the
in the seven seats, if they can find common candidates in these 7 seats, one candidate, opposition candidate, to take on the BJP.
Exactly.
I am asking you, after, not just after, but more so after what we saw in the Punjab Assembly today, how are the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party going to find common candidates in 13 seats in Punjab?
Matter, Zaka, in a state like Kerala or Punjab, it does not matter whether AAP wins or whether Congress wins. Very likely, they will even contest against each other, whether you call them quote-unquote friendly contests or not. The left front is part of the India alliance. The left front has already announced its candidates for Kerala.
Are contesting
So
against
what are
each
we
One
other.
second, Tushar, let him finish. I'll come to you. Let him finish. Yeah.
These are 1 minute. Common sense will tell us that these are states where the BJP is not going to win seats. So it does not matter. What matters is, do they put up a common candidate in Maharashtra? Do they put up a common candidate in Bengal? Do they put up a common candidate in Bihar?
No, but in
Do they
Bengal,
put up a
Mamata
common
Banerjee has
candidate
said
in
she's
UP?
not. No, in Bengal she has said
No, there's plenty
she's
of
not
time.
putting up. She's not putting up
Even
joint
yesterday-
candidates.
Even yesterday, the Congress has said that backroom talks are going on and an
Okay.
attempt will be found.
So,
to have a
Tushar,
common
the
candidate.
logic is, in Bengal, for example, irrespective of whether Mamata Banerjee wins or left wins or Congress wins, all those seats go into the India Alliance kitty.
So, Zaka, the logic is that where the BJP doesn't do well or where it doesn't sweep the state, that is where the India alliance can actually play a crucial part. So, in Punjab, there are 13 seats. The alliance won't go for all 13 seats with a common candidate. Instead, you will have AAP against the Congress. In Kerala, where the BJP is not a majority player, again, you'll have the Communists against Congress, and the Communists have already announced that they won the seat of Wayanad back from Rahul Gandhi. So, where does the alliance actually work? In Maharashtra, we are not hearing anything. In UP, we are not hearing anything. In Bihar, we are not hearing anything. Bengal,
think your
Odisha,
hearing is a
Chhattisgarh,
little
Madhya
weak.
Pradesh,
I
Haryana,
think his
Himachal
hearing is a
Pradesh.
little weak
In
if he hasn't
Himachal
heard everything.
Pradesh, the Congress party is struggling with
Sir, I think
infighting.
you need to check your
Forget the
hearing.
alliance, Mr. Raman. Forget the alliance,
Sir,
Mr. Raman. Your party is collapsing under its
announcement
own
has
weight.
come. You have not heard it. If
Where
you
are
have
the
not heard the
candidates
alliance
list?
in UP, you
Where
should
is
go
the
and
candidates list, sir? Where is the
why should the
candidates list?
candidates be
Is Rahul
announced?
Gandhi
The
fighting from
election
Amethi?
itself
Is
not been
Rahul
announced.
Gandhi fighting from Amethi? Is
Sir,
Priyanka Gandhi
when are the
fighting from
elections?
Raebareli? Is
When are the
Priyanka Gandhi
elections?
fighting from
Tell me
Raebareli?
the date.
The
Tell me the
elections
date.
are
Tell
going
me
to
the
be
date
Okay.
of
announced
the
a week
election.
from now, sir.
Okay,
The dates
one
themselves have not been announced.
second,
Zaka,
one second,
Zaka,
one second, please, one
By the
second,
way,
one
two
second.
of them have
No, no,
already withdrawn.
one
The
second.
final point.
I
Zaka,
want
one
to.
final point.
Okay,
One final point.
10
One final
seconds,
point.
10 seconds, yeah.
Last 6 months,
195,
there have been a lot of rhetoric, lot of jargon thrown about the lines. But when it comes to ground strategic vote transfer, common candidate, nothing has happened. Nothing has moved.
Okay. No, this idea that just because parties
elections
come together.
haven't been
One second, one
announced
second, one second, one second. The idea that parties just come together and on the ground the votes of one party will transfer to another party's candidate, that entire myth has been busted, not least, of course, in the 2019 elections in the Lok Sabha, where the two biggest parties in Uttar Pradesh, SP and BSP, came together and you saw vote transfer of one party going to the other, but you didn't see vote transfer of the second party going to the first. And I think that whole myth has been completely busted. But Madhu Gaudiaski, again, even in Uttar Pradesh, so far what we've heard is leaks in the media saying SP is willing to give 11 seats. I think they went up to 15 seats. Nowhere has it been officially signed, sealed and delivered that these are the X number of seats that Congress is fighting and these are the X number of seats that Samajwadi Party is fighting. Even there, you have lost a small party like the RLD, even in Uttar Pradesh.
Zaka, let me quickly give the previous experience. UPA 1, where the left parties have supported UPA government and we fought against left parties, CPM, CPI in Kerala and West Bengal. We came to power. So this is a successful practice of common minimum program and brought so many Right to Information Act to employment guarantee schemes to right to education. Many schemes have been launched during UPA 1 government. So there is no need to worry. Why the BJP so much worried about our differences, seat bargaining, which is happening? It's happening with BJP in Andhra Pradesh also. They're aligned, whether they're trying to align with the TDP or YSRCP, they're still working out on seat sharing. So these are the bargaining tactics happens in politics. It's very common. It's our problem to deal with SP in UP, Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab and elsewhere. So BJP should be happy if we have not come to a conclusion. So let's deal with our own problem of dealing with our friendly parties and seat sharing will work out. So the question here, what Mr. Modi has promised and what he has delivered in 10 years. He is still talking about Congress government of 10 years ago. He talks about Parivar. Yes, I am proud to be Gandhi Parivar family party rather than Godse Parivar family, which BJP takes proud on being claimed to be a Godse Parivar. We are proud to be Gandhi Parivar family party.
I don't know how ignorant the Congress party can be. 25 crore people pulled out of multi-dimensional poverty in the last 10 years. If that is not an achievement, then nothing can be an achievement for the Congress party. Infrastructure creation of an unprecedented level, whether it is a 70% increase in the stretch of highways, doubling the total airports, if that is not an achievement, then nothing can be an achievement for the Congress party. But the bottom line today is that this Indie alliance is a grotesque conglomeration of parties which have willingly decided
so you are
to
agreeing
sacrifice
to
their
India
self-esteem
government, friend.
and
You are agreeing that you are India government.
We have seen Mamata
Let him answer,
was the first person. Mamata Banerjee, it was not us. Mamata Banerjee was the first person to ridicule Congress and challenge them by saying that they cannot even win 40 seats. We have seen Akhilesh Yadav win rally after rally in Madhya Pradesh.
One second. When you say Parivarvad, when you say Parivarvad and every BJP member rails and rants against the opposition for Parivarvad, in your first list, you've given a ticket to Basuri Swaraj, who is late Minister Sushma Swaraj's daughter. You've given a ticket to Dushyant Singh, who is Vasundhara Raje's son. So, I mean, you guys are just as guilty of Parivarvad.
I think there are some. I think you've got it all wrong, Jaka. There are some journalists who cannot
That's a double standard.
Double standard of the BJP. But I think you should be very clear. Parivarvad, let me define it for you once and for all. Parivarvad is when by virtue of a certain leader holding a certain position, by virtue of your pedigree holding a certain position in the party, by default you become a natural claimant to that position. That is not the case with Basuri Swaraj or Dushyant Singh. Basuri Swaraj has been very active with Delhi BJP for the last few years. She has an official position and she has been actively working on the ground.
Okay.
So I don't see where is the comparison. She is not claiming to be a minister like Sushma Swaraj. She is not claiming to be a party president.
So
What about Ajit Pawar?
Meenakshi Lekhi didn't perform.
Why did you align with Ajit Pawar?
No,
Please
one
explain.
second, one at a time. Yeah, Dr. Sumant Raman. Yeah.
No, my question was, look, you replaced 4 out of the 5 candidates in Delhi. Is that an admission that they didn't perform?
No, but parties can change their candidates. What is, I mean, last election. No, one second, please, gentlemen, 1 second. Dr. Raman, Mr. Modi, from 20 years ago, when he was Gujarat Chief Minister, this was part of an election strategy to change 15, 20, 30% of his candidates. Thereby, you cut local level anti-incumbency. It's always been the case.
Look, what do you mean by local level anti-incumbency? It is
Against the
basically an
respective
admission.
MLA or the MP.
It is basically an admission that they did not perform. Why don't you say that? You're couching it in language, local level anti-incumbency.
There is a term called local level anti-incumbency against individual MLAs or MPs. No, 1 second.
But what do you mean by that?
In Uttar Pradesh, by this logic, in Uttar Pradesh, they have released 51 names. I think almost all of them are repeat candidates. So what does that mean? That there is no anti-incumbency against any of them? No, it does not. These are election strategies, which is fair enough. But
all I am asking is,
Zakka, can I answer him?
My point very clearly.
There are 20 crore plus members in BJP. And I think, it should be appreciated. We are giving a chance to newcomers. What sort of mentality does Mr. Suman have where he believes that, existing candidates should not be replaced? And who are these people to ask us questions? There is not a single safe seat for either Rahul Gandhi or Sonia Gandhi across the country. And these people should be asking us questions.
No, Sonia Gandhi has gone to the Rajya Sabha. I don't think she's looking for a Lok Sabha safe seat, as you say.
Because she did not find a single safe constituency across the country. She will soon also go to the visitors gallery.
Ostensibly for health reasons, but we'll leave it at that.
Zaka, BB Patil, who joined BJP 3 days ago, please ask Mr. Madhu Yashki. He has got a ticket now. He joined from the BRS 3 days back.
Yep. Yeah,
so where there's nobody deserving in Zahirabad to get a ticket from the BJP there, nobody who's worked for the BJP, come on. Everything is strategy if it is done by BJP. Everything is bungling or opportunism if done.
Well, as they say, it's because of electoral success or the lack of it. If there is electoral success, it will be considered strategy. But we'll see how the story plays out. For the moment, thank you very much to all our guests. This whole narrative-defining attempt by the BJP and by the Prime Minister to say that the entire country, Pura Bharat Mera Parivar hai, and all the BJP functionaries adding Modi ka Parivar to their social media handles. We'll see if that resonates with a large majority of voters. What is clearly irking quite a few people in Bengaluru is 3 days after the Rameshwaram Cafe blast, the probe continues, and 3 days on, the main suspect has still not been apprehended. The NIA, the National Investigation Agency, has taken over the case. There is new CCTV footage that's emerged today in which you can see the suspect entering the cafe. This is at 11:34 a.m. on the 1st of March. He stays inside the cafe for less than 10 minutes and then leaves at 11:43 a.m. Karnataka Home Minister Parameshwara held a high-level meeting today with senior police officials. They've revealed that they've received an important lead and they're close to nabbing the main suspect. Investigators are also using advanced technology to reconstruct the face of the accused as the manhunt continues. Remember, he's covered his face with a baseball cap as well as a mask. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has said that the authorities are confident about nabbing the main culprit within the next couple of days. The BJP, though, has accused the Congress of appeasement politics, which they claim has led to the radicalization fueling such crimes. The question is, while the crackdown on terror is the need of the hour, will politics as well as the center-state slanging hurt the investigation?
So whatever it is, we are open to investigation. I think we have a very great team here.
So after preliminary investigation, it has been found that there might be a terror link. And so wider ramifications are there. But state government had neglected it. They had taken it very lightly.
There may be similarity in terms of materials what they have used, but I cannot say it is similar to Mangalore, similar to another incident.
Before we get to the political party spokespersons, I'm now joined by Mr. Mohan Vishwa, spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP, Aishwarya Mahadev, spokesperson of the Congress Party. But I want to first go across to Mr. YC Modi, he's the former Director General of the NIA. Mr. YC Modi, it's been more than 72 hours. The main suspect, the man we can see on the CCTV cameras, has still not been apprehended. Does it seem like to you as a lone wolf attack by this man, or is this part of a larger module?
No, I mean, it will be wrong on my part to put blame on any particular grouping, but there is a possibility of involvement of PFI in this act.
The NIA has now taken over the case, but do you believe that the state perhaps should have brought in the NIA much earlier and handed over the case to the NIA? They are the experts in dealing with terror cases, and perhaps the initial few hours were lost because of this?
No, because it's a normal procedure. Local police does the initial investigation, and I am sure NIA team would have reached the spot immediately after the incident, and they would be aware about the happenings, what has happened in the case till now.
Okay.
So I don't think it will be very damaging for the case.
Well, one final question. It's been 72 hours. The suspect is still out at large. He could have perhaps left the state. God knows, he could have even left the country. How easy or difficult is it to catch him? Because clearly you can't see much of his face. He's wearing a mask. He's wearing a baseball cap. There's very little of his face that you can actually see.
No, I mean, what you have said is always possible, that the person would have left the state or even the borders of the country. But with effective investigation, we are sure that NIA would be able to catch the terrorist and to find out which group is involved in this heinous act.
Mr. Modi, thank you very much for speaking with us. YC Modi, former DG of NIA. Aishwarya Mahadev, isn't it concerning? It's been 3 days. It's not just the fact that the main suspect is still out at large, but how close are the authorities to even getting a picture of him reconstructed? Forget about nabbing him.
Good evening, Zaka. First and foremost, I think what has happened is one of the most heinous things that has happened to the city of Bangalore, and any sort of instance or situation that disrupts peace and any sort of antisocial element of irrespective of which part of the spectrum they come from, the government will always take the strictest action. One. Second thing is, Zaka, let me point out, when you previously asked Mr. Modi that question about was the Karnataka government, did they, kind of hamper things by handing over things to the NIA late? In the Mangalore blast case, it took close to a week for the case to be handed over to the NIA. But irrespective, the Karnataka government, the Congress government here has made very clear that we will cooperate to the fullest with central agencies. We are also already working on investigation. We have all the CCTV footage. We're trying to see what are the forensic data we can get. There are lots of people, eyewitnesses, who are also injured in this process. So we're trying to ensure that the due process that has to be done is taking place, while also maintaining peace and order, and also ensuring that there is trust in society and you don't see these elements creating far more discontent or dissonance or more strife in society, like you see certain people are trying to do for their own
Mohan
gain.
Vishwa, you are playing politics. What would a BJP government have done differently? I mean, you can see the CCTV footage. It's not easy to identify the person, but the state police are saying that they have strong leads. Why are you needlessly politicizing?
Zaka, we are not the one who are politicizing. Listen to the kind of statement that has been given by the Congress ministers. Take an example of Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar himself. After the blast happens, within 24 hours, he says there might be an angle of personal vengeance. Is that the kind of a statement he's going to make? Come on, there is a 1.5 kgs to 2 kgs of, the IED explosive it has been believed that, that much has been recovered. Even after knowing that, being a deputy chief minister, is that a kind of a statement he makes? And one more minister, Mr. Sharan Prakash Patil, who is a youth affairs minister, he says it's a silly matter. Does that bomb blast, which has the terror angle, does it seems to be a silly matter for these ministers? See, these are the statements which we are trying to say here. And also, if you see in the past also, I was reading in the newspaper today, this blast and the kind of mechanism used is on par with the Mangalore cooker blast, which has happened way back. At that time also, the same D.K. Shivkumar said that, no, you should not give a communal angle to it. And he said they are their brothers. They call the terrorists as their brothers. See, the intent, what we are telling over here. And also, since the Congress government has come into power in the state, I'm telling you, the law and order has gone for a toss. You take a lot of examples. There happens to be a gang rape in Haveri. Police will not act immediately. They will take a week or so. Then there will be a woman which will be beaten nakedly in Gulbarga district, which is of our Mallikarjun Kharge's constituency and Priyanka Kharge's constituency. And no action will be taken immediately. And also there will be a murder of Hindu Karyakarta in Mysore Narsipura. No action will be taken immediately. So these are the intent. The government, will not have.
Aishwarya Mahadev, leave aside the instances that Mr. Mohan just outlined. But what about the fact that even in these terror cases, and the police are now saying this, that they are looking at potential links to what happened in Mangaluru in 2023 and what happened in Shimoga in 2022. If these leads were already available, how come the police, this main suspect who can be seen on the CCTV, was not already under the police's radar? He should have been.
One second. Zaka, before I answer that, this whole idea of what my deputy chief minister said about personal rivalry and whatnot, the owner and his wife themselves said there might be something because of vendetta, because of the fact that the franchise was doing that well, one. And after we found out more information, that nobody's offered up any sort of explanation such as that. And we're probing this with the most severe manner that we can. Right, first. Second thing is, Zaka, the BJP happens to have this attitude that before they even know what and what not or what the reality is, they tend to paint a certain picture of it. The Congress government is cautious in waiting in order to not vitiate the sort of communal seeds that the BJP has sown, which we're still trying to unroot right now in my state. And we have taken cognizance of all of this. One thing, the Home Minister has also spoken about whether it was an IED, whether there are similarities or not, it is still being probed. While the BJP, based on their own, their own sort of the fact that also remains, Zaka, let's also bring this back. If you want me to get into politics, very simple. Karnataka does not have even one named list candidate for the Lok Sabha now. The BJP obviously is completely irrelevant, which is why they are now running around to show number one and number two that look, we are also in the same boat. We also are the ones that love spreading communal strife. And because union ministers, the state minister's own brother, no tickets have been declared. And this is merely their diversionary tactic. We've also acceded
Vishwa, you don't have any candidates. Your prospects for the Lok Sabha is looking weak, and therefore you're trying to communalize this entire incident because the Congress's claim is that that's the only way you win elections in Karnataka, by polarizing.
Say, Zaka, if you ask any journalist, they will say, who don't have candidates in the state? Okay, it's Congress, the sitting minister, the sitting MLAs, they themselves don't want to contest. Come on. We have announced 195 candidates tickets there for yesterday across India. How many candidates they have announced? The Sonia Gandhi, who don't have a place to stand for Lok Sabha elections, she has run around for Rajya Sabha from Rajasthan. So this is the fate of Congress. They should not make that statement.
Understand that courtesy doesn't exist for your ilk, but you might as well be a little respectful, though it's obviously beyond you and the standard.
Aishwarya, it's not a good habit to interfere in between. Let me finish. Let me tell you one more story, Saka.
It's not a good habit to speak so irreverentially of somebody older than you, but clearly courtesy is not something you
point made. Mr. Mohan, once again, Mr. Mohan, you said 195 candidates have been released. I don't think anybody from Karnataka has been released yet.
No ministers.
That the central will decide and they will decide. I am not, I don't want to comment on that point. Coming back to the same terror link which has happened, let's not deviate too much. There is one more irresponsible thing which has happened in the state during this Congress government only. A week back, one person who is a supporter of Mr. Nasir Hussain, he shouts a slogan called Pakistan Zindabad inside Vidhan Sauda. Immediately, the Priyank Kharge comes out and he gives a clean check without even contacting the police, without even sending those audio tapes to FSL report, and he blames the media. But now what happens? After 8 days, the FSL report has come. The police have arrested 3 suspects just 2 hours before, and Mr. Home Minister G. Parmeshwar, he says he's not even aware of that arrest.
So, Aishwarya, please respond. When this incident happened after the Rajya Sabha elections, everybody in the Congress party came out and denied. Today, the same Karnataka police has arrested 3 people basis a forensic report which says that yes, that video has not been tampered with and people did raise pro-Pakistan slogans.
1 second, Zaka, let's clear this out. Even when the incident took place and then when it was highlighted, everybody came out and said prima facie it did not sound like that is what was being said. One. However, the Home Minister on the floor of the House, the Chief Minister, Mr. Priyank Kharge, everybody went on to say that to make sure that beyond a doubt that none of this has happened, because we don't need lectures on being Indian or Indianness from a party that obviously did not raise the national flag for decades, but we went on to have a forensic report.
I don't know for how many years you people keep on lying on this.
We basically had, the BJP, because no agenda again, went on to get a private RSS-funded organization to get an FSL. Today, 1 second, you were saying we're shielding people. My Home Minister said he will get an investigation. An investigation has been done. If there is any wrongdoing, now people have been arrested. What are you going to say now? Are we still shielding people? A wrong is a wrong irrespective of who commits it. My government committed not to shield these people. We had an investigation. It is revealed. They want more people for questioning. So that has happened.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. We'll see how this story plays out. I suspect both of these, whether it is the blast that happened at Rameshwaram Cafe or the fact that now 3 people associated with a Congress member of parliament were seen raising slogans which are considered pro-Pakistan, something that the Congress had initially denied, the candidate in question had initially denied, but now the police have arrested those 3 persons basis of forensic report. I don't see the politics on this running out anytime soon, and this could likely be more resonant as we go into the Lok Sabha election campaign. Those stories up on our website, also our social media handles on YouTube, Facebook and other social media platforms. In the meanwhile, if you've been tuned in, from me, Zaka, Jacob and the rest of the team, thanks for your time. Good night. We'll catch you again tomorrow night, same time. These are your MLAs who until this morning were supporting your government. You are saying they're so susceptible. They're so susceptible to whatever it is, threat or coercion or inducement, that in the space of a few hours they've decided to lock, stock and barrel, abandon you and vote for the BJP candidate.
More than 1 million people to congregate there to show that BJP is a force to reckon with in Tamil Nadu and not just a weakling or a kacha limbu. Will the BJP make any gains and inroads?
We are the real opposition party in Tamil Nadu today, and this is the honest truth that they are unable to digest.
समझौता होगा वो तो यही समझौता हो सकता है ना कि वहाँ हिंदू मानते हैं वो जन्म स्थान है वो खाली हो जाए, वहाँ मंदिर बन जाए और बढ़ जाए, और मस्जिद के लिए कोई और ज़मीन दी जाए, यही अयोध्या में हुआ था। तो क्या मुस्लिम समाज इसको मानेगा? क्या ये समझौता हो सकता है?
How can we give such a huge pedestal to China, and if it was an inadvertent error, then accept it? But how can anyone justify it, especially when they use Indian taxpayer money?
Presented by.
They casted a vote or given a speech after taking a bribe. However, the Supreme Court has clarified that the offense of bribery, starts and ends when a bribe is actually taken, and that's exactly why no kind of immunity can be granted to any kind of MP or a MLA if at all they take a bribe and cast a vote or give a speech in the Parliament of India. So that is a big Parliament or any kind of a house, legislative house, is what the Supreme Court has gone on to say. So big judgment coming in the immunity that until now the MPs and MLAs enjoyed when it comes to bribery for casting a vote or giving a speech in the Parliament or in any kind of a legislative house is now completely gone. The Supreme Court goes on to say that it's an agnostic offence, and that's the reason why no kind of immunity can be actually granted.
Right, and just for the better perspective of our viewers, Ananya, could you take us back to the 1998's verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case?
Well, definitely. The 1998 verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case was a 3-2 verdict that was given by, in fact, the Supreme Court, where, it was said that the parliamentarians are immune when it comes to taking a bribe for giving, for giving a speech or casting a vote in the House. Is what that judgment had said, and challenging that particular judgment, appeal was made here in the Supreme Court of India first, 3 judges bench of the Supreme Court, and then 7 judges bench of the topmost court of the country has now very clearly and categorically in a unanimous verdict has stated that no kind of immunity can be enjoyed when it comes to, in fact, an offence of bribery.
Big breaking news now coming in. Well, we are learning that unanimous verdict by 7-judge bench on bribes for vote case is out. Supreme Court has in fact overruled the 1998 verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case. The apex court was deciding if lawmakers have immunity from prosecution for taking bribe to make speech, cast vote in House, whether legal immunity enjoyed by legislator under Article 105 and 194 protects them from prosecution for taking bribes or not. We have CNN News 18's legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, please help us put that into perspective for our viewers.
Well, definitely, this is a very crucial verdict that is now coming from the topmost of the country. There was Sheeta Soren, who was a member of the JNM, who had, in fact, lost the Supreme Court. The matter had travelled from the 3 judges bench to finally this bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, Dr. Now, when categorically starts to be clarified that no kind of immunity is enjoyed by any parliamentarian when it comes to taking bribe for giving a vote in the Parliament, in the House, or taking a bribe for giving a speech in the House. So that is the immunity that existed in the 1998 judgment in the PV Narasimha Rao case does not exist now. Is what the Supreme Court is very categorically stated, very clearly putting down and very clearly saying that MPs and MLAs can't claim immunity from prosecution on charges of bribery in connection with a vote for speech in the Legislative House. They also want to say that bribery is not rendered under Article 105 Part 2 or 194 of the Constitution of India. Bribery erodes probity in the public life, and the offence of bribery is agnostic, and it does not matter whether the vote is cast in a certain direction or not cast at all. Bribery is complete when bribe is accepted is what the Chief Justice of India has said. The 7 judges bench has said it is very unanimous verdict. No defense is there, and very clearly and categorically that judgment of 1998 of PV Narasimha Rao has been set out. If it all from now on, any kind of a parliamentary right to cast a vote in the House, or in fact, a speech after taking a bribe.
All right, I think we lost connection with Ananya over there. But if we were to talk about this big breaking news coming in straight from the apex court is about the unanimous verdict by 7-judge bench on bribes for vote case All right, we have Ananya back with us on the broadcast. Ananya, you were saying something over the Supreme Court's recent order. Would you like to read it again for our viewers?
Well, definitely. I was reading down the part and portions of the order that the Chief Justice of India himself read. When it has very, very categorically been stated that, bribery is not rendered new under Article 195 and 190 of the Constitution. They also go on to say that bribery erodes the probity in public life and now overruled the 1998 judgment in the PV Narasimha Rao case where MPs and MLAs were given particular immunity if they had casted a vote or given a speech after taking a bribe. However, the Supreme Court has clarified that the offence of bribery, starts and ends when a bribe is actually taken, and that's exactly why no kind of immunity can be granted to any kind of MP or a MLA if at all they take a bribe and cast a vote or give a speech in the Parliament of India. So that is a big Parliament or any kind of a house, legislative house, is what the Supreme Court has gone on to say. So big judgment coming in the immunity that until now the MPs and MLAs enjoyed when it comes to bribery for casting a vote or giving a speech in the Parliament or in any kind of a legislative house is now completely gone. The Supreme Court goes on to say that it's an agnostic offence, and that's the reason why no kind of immunity can be actually granted.
Right, and just for the better perspective of our viewers, Ananya, could you take us back to the 1998's verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case?
Well, definitely. The 1998 verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case was a 3-2 verdict that was given by, in fact, the Supreme Court, where, it was said that the parliamentarians are immune when it comes to taking a bribe for giving, for giving a speech or casting a vote in the House. Is what that judgment had said, and challenging that particular judgment, appeal was made here in the Supreme Court of India first. 3 judges bench of the Supreme Court and then 7 judges bench of the topmost court of the country has now very clearly and categorically in a unanimous verdict has stated that no kind of immunity can be enjoyed when it comes to, in fact, an offence of bribery.
Big breaking news now coming in. Well, we are learning that unanimous verdict by 7-judge bench on bribes for vote case is out. Supreme Court has in fact overruled the 1998 verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case. The apex court was deciding if lawmakers have immunity from prosecution for taking bribe to make speech, cast vote in House, whether legal immunity enjoyed by legislator under Article 105 and 194 protects them from prosecution for taking bribes or not. We have CNN News 18's legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, please help us put that into perspective for our viewers.
Well, definitely, this is a very, very crucial verdict that is now coming from the top of the country. There was Sanatana Dharma, who was a member of the JMM, who had, in fact, knocked the Supreme Court. The matter had travelled from 3 judges bench to finally within this bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, Dr. D.Y. Now, when categorically starts to be clarified that no kind of immunity is enjoyed by any parliamentarian when it comes to taking bribe for giving a vote in the Parliament, in the House, or taking a bribe for giving a speech in the House. So that is the immunity that existed. The 1998 judgment in the PV Narasimha Rao case does not exist now. Is what the Supreme Court is very, very categorically stated, very clearly putting down and very clearly saying that MPs and MLAs can't claim immunity from prosecution on charges of bribery in connection with a vote for speech in the Legislative House. They also want to say that bribery is not rendered under Article 105 Part 2 or 194 of the Constitution of India. Bribery erodes probity in the public life, and the offence of bribery is agnostic, and it does not matter whether the vote is cast in certain direction or not cast at all. Bribery is complete when bribe is accepted is what the Chief Justice of India has led. The 7-judge bench has said it is very unanimous verdict. No defense is there, and very clearly and categorically that judgment of 1998 of PV Narasimha Rao has been set out. If it all from now on, any kind of a parliamentary bribe.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. Tonight we start with the Maldives. President Mohammad Muizzu is not backing down from his India out pitch. He is expanding it. Reports say his military has seized an Indian fishing boat. Should we see this as a routine maritime brush, or is there a political message? Also, India's foreign minister has responded to Muizzu's bully comment. He says, does a bully give $4.5 billion in aid? We'll decode what India's Maldives strategy is. In Germany, a major embarrassment for the government. Their plans for the Ukraine war have leaked. We'll tell you what the plan says. In Pakistan, a new Prime Minister has taken charge. What are the challenges awaiting Shehbaz Sharif? In India, the rape of a Brazilian tourist has shocked the nation. In the Gaza war, Netanyahu's team appears divided. A war cabinet member is on an unapproved foreign visit to the US. And today is World Obesity Day. It's a condition that is affecting more than 1 billion people. We'll tell you what's causing it. All this and more lined up. First, the headlines. Oil prices remain steady a day after OPEC Plus cut output. On Sunday, the group led by Saudi Arabia and Russia extended their voluntary output cuts into the second quarter. The move aims to allay market fears amid global economic turmoil. In India, opposition launches a personal attack on Prime Minister Modi. Lalu Prasad Yadav takes pot shots at the PM for being single. Prime Minister Modi responds as the whole country is his family. The ruling BJP unveils Modi Ka Parivar, or Prime Minister Modi's family campaign. Top leaders like Amit Shah and JP Nadda added to their names on X. China kicks off its largest political event of the year in Beijing. Population and property crises take center stage at the annual meeting. Breaking with decades-old tradition, China's Premier Li Qiang will not hold a press conference. The two-sessions conclave will last until Sunday. Poland wants European Union to sanction food imports from Russia and Belarus. This is to counter bloc-wide protests by farmers. Polish Prime Minister refuses to rule out a ban. Protesting farmers say they're facing unfair competition from non-EU nations. Germany braces for major travel disruption. From Thursday, Lufthansa ground staff will be on a two-day strike. Train drivers will also join them. Germany is Europe's largest economy. In recent months, it has been hit by a spate of strikes over pay and better working conditions. And the Sudan sets condition for African Union's mediation. Its military leader, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, wants its membership to be restored. After the military coup in October 2021, the AU had suspended Sudan's membership, demanding a return to civilian power. It's a new week, but the same old story in the Maldives. More moves against India. It's a crisis that refuses to die down. First, Indian soldiers were asked to leave the Maldives. Then the president cozied up to China. And now an Indian vessel has been seized. It's a fishing boat. We don't have confirmation from either government on this, but here's what local reports say. The Indian boat was near Ha Alif Kela. It's an island in northern Maldives, just 400 kilometers from the Indian state of Kerala. And why was it seized? Because the boat was reportedly fishing inside the Maldivian EEZ. Now, EEZ is Exclusive Economic Zone. Think of it as extended territorial waters. Only you can use the resources inside your EEZ, which is why the Indian boat was seized, because it was inside the Maldivian EEZ. Now, we've seen such incidents before. There's no line or border on the high seas, so fishermen keep crossing over by mistake. Just look at India and Sri Lanka. In 2023, Colombo arrested 240 Indian fishermen. They also seized 35 trawlers. So such incidents are not unheard of. In fact, they're pretty common. But this one, with the Maldives, has more background. Last month, there was a marine standoff. Male accused the Indian Coast Guard of boarding 3 Maldivian vessels. Again, fishing boats. They said the boats were inside Maldivian EEZ, yet India boarded them. So Male sought an explanation. And what did India say? Nothing in public. So my point is, this has been brewing for a while. Chances are it will complicate matters, which brings us to the larger question here. Can India and the Maldives work together again? New Delhi is doing everything it can, it seems. President Mohammad Muizzu wanted Indian soldiers to leave the Maldives. Well, they're leaving. The first batch of civilians has already reached the Maldives. They will soon replace the soldiers. Muizzu also decided to visit China before India, which is a snub because Maldivian presidents usually visit India first. This one chose to go to China. Yet India has handled things maturely. No emotional outbursts, no sharp criticism, and no big brother attitude. Instead of attacking Mali, India has defended itself, its own track record in the region. Let me take you back to January. President Muizu had just returned from China. He said he wouldn't let anyone bully the Maldives. Now, Muizu did not name any country, but the reference was obvious. Muizu was talking about India. At that point, New Delhi did not say anything, but this week, Foreign Minister Jaishankar gave a response. The question was put to him. And this was the question. Do neighbors perceive India as a bully? Listen to his response.
When you say India is perceived as a big bully, you know, big bullies don't provide $4.5 billion when the neighbors are in trouble. Big bullies don't supply vaccines to other countries when COVID is on, or make exceptions to their own rules to respond to food demands or fuel demands or fertilizer demands because some war in some other part of the world has complicated their lives.
Hard to argue with that. You see, diplomatic relations are a lot like human relations. You can't force someone to be your friend. You can't force someone to like you. All you can do is put in the effort, like doing nice things or helping out during crises or being more understanding. The rest is up to the other side. And that's where Muizu is not doing his part. Asking Indian soldiers to leave is one thing, but picking a fight with India is a whole different ballgame. Just think about it. Muizu has already gotten what he wanted. The Indian soldiers are heading out. So why poke New Delhi again? Why seize Indian fishing boats? It raises questions about Muizu's long-term strategy. Does he want a working relationship with India or not? Does he want to be a Chinese ally at India's doorstep? Well, New Delhi is not waiting to find out. This week, a new naval base is being commissioned. It's called INS Jatayu. And where it's located? On Lakshadweep's Minicoy Island, just 100 kilometers from the Maldives. So India is ready for all eventualities, to repair and move forward as friends, or to live in forever suspicion. It's now President Muizu's turn to make his intentions clear. In Europe, a military leak has caused a political storm. At the receiving end is Germany. It has been hacked. Its blueprint for the Ukraine war has been leaked, and this has put Berlin in a spot. You see, Germany was anyway seen as a reluctant partner. Its role in the war has been questioned throughout in the Ukraine war. And with this leak, its position has become even more difficult. Its allies are raising questions and wondering if Germany can be trusted anymore. So what is this leak? And what does it reveal about Germany? Also, how did these top secret details come out? They leaked because German officials broke some basic rules. They discussed war plans on an unsecured phone line. These were German military officials. They made a grave blunder, and it appears that Russia intercepted this call. It managed to make an audio recording. Over the weekend, Russia Today leaked this recording, and now it's being shared on social media. We have a clip. Listen to this.
Aber zum Beispiel, wie das angebaut aussieht, am Tornado, was kann der Taurus, wie wird er eingesetzt, aber natürlich spukt bei ihm immer noch im Hinterkopf.
So what were the Germans discussing? Well, they were talking about arming Ukraine, about the possibility of giving it some powerful missiles like the Taurus. The Taurus is a cruise missile, one of the best that Germany has. The missile is usually fired through a fighter jet. It travels almost at the speed of sound. That's over 1,000 kilometers per hour. It can strike targets some 500 kilometers away. The Taurus can fly low at an altitude of just 35 meters, so it's extremely tough for a radar to catch it. Now, Kiev has been asking for this missile for a long time, but the German Chancellor has been reluctant.
A weapon which isn't even the most powerful one. A HIMARS rocket launcher achieves a lot more than a Taurus, but which has a 500-kilometer range and which, if used wrongly, can reach a concrete target somewhere in Moscow.
He doesn't sound keen to give the Taurus. But could that stand change? I ask because Ukraine is increasingly looking more vulnerable, low on weapons and morale. America's latest aid package has been stuck for months, and Europe has been trying to step up. to fill the gap left by the Americans. So Olaf Scholz may be forced to rethink, and that was the backdrop of this phone conversation. German generals were discussing war scenarios. What if Ukraine had the Taurus missile? Which targets would they hit? And they came up with some ideas. One of the potential targets was the Kerch Bridge. It connects Russia to Crimea. This is what the German generals were discussing on an unsecured phone line now that conversation has been leaked and Moscow is up in arms. Today, Russia summoned the German ambassador and registered an official protest. Russia says Germany wants to enter this war and claims that this audio leak is proof.
Here we have to find out whether the Bundeswehr is doing this on its own initiative. Then the question is, how controllable is the Bundeswehr? And how much does Scholz control the situation? Or is it part of German government policy of Germany? Both are very bad. Both once again emphasize the direct involvement of the countries of the collective West in the conflict around Ukraine.
Russia says Olaf Scholz has lost control of his forces. They're making plans without his knowledge, and Moscow's statement was carefully crafted. It clearly defines the Russian red lines. It tells Berlin that arming Ukraine with long-range missiles would amount to direct intervention in the war. If they give the missiles to Ukraine, it means Germany is entering the war. So what is Germany's response? It's in damage control mode. It accuses Russia of information warfare.
What has been reported there is a very serious matter, and therefore this will be investigated very carefully, very intensively and very quickly. That's necessary.
The incident is clearly more than just the interception and the publication of a conversation within the Air Force. It is part of an information war that Putin is waging. There is no doubt about that.
This is a messy situation for Olaf Scholz. He took power in 2021. Since then, he has been on the back foot. Under his leadership, Germany's economy has been pushed towards a recession. His coalition partners are unhappy with him. Differences over policy have led to divisions. Plus, Scholz has been locking horns with Europe, mostly over the military aid to Ukraine. Now, this leak only makes his life more difficult. It shows Germany as the weak link in the Western alliance and Scholz on shaky ground. Russia is capitalizing on this weakness. Pakistan finally has a prime minister. He is a Sharif, but not Nawaz. His younger brother, Shehbaz. Shehbaz Sharif has got the post, that too without much drama. Pakistan's parliament convened on Sunday to elect the next prime minister. Some 336 lawmakers were eligible to vote. 201 of them voted for Shehbaz Sharif. Only 92 voted for Imran Khan's candidate, so smooth sailing. Earlier today, Shehbaz Sharif was sworn in as the prime minister. It's his second stint as Pakistan's leader. The first was from 2022 to 2023. Now, Shehbaz is not the charismatic kind. He was warming the prime minister's chair for his elder brother Nawaz Sharif. But now he finds himself on it again. The question is, what are his plans for Pakistan? His first speech offered some clues. Shehbaz Sharif talked about freeing Kashmir. Listen to this.
आए हम आज एक सब यकजान दो कालिब हो जाएं कश्मीर में जो बदतरीन जुल्म ढाए जा रहे हैं उनके ऊपर पाकिस्तान न सिर्फ अपना असूली मौक़िफ़ लेके आए बल्कि ये ऐवान आज एक करारदाद पास करे शदीद मज़म्मत की और कश्मीरियों और फ़लस्तीनियों की.
I guess some things never change. Kashmir is an obsession for Pakistan's leaders and Shehbaz Sharif is no different. But his latest statement is not some clarion call. It's the old and dusty army script. So what should India expect from him? At this point, nothing much. Both Shehbaz Sharif and the Pakistani army have a lot on their plate. A nose-diving economy, a rebellious Imran Khan and homegrown terror groups. So focusing on India will be tough. Nawaz Sharif did talk about resetting relations with New Delhi, but that was before the election. A lot has changed since then. The Sharifs have lost a lot of political capital. The army has lost face. So an outreach to India looks very unlikely at this point. Instead, Shehbaz Sharif is focusing on the West. He is promising to repair relations with the US and Europe.
अमेरिका के साथ हमें अपने तारीखी ताल्लुकात को पहले रिपेयर करना है और फिर इस्तवार करना है और फिर तजारती, दिफाई और माशी और सफारती ताल्लुकात को बेहतर लाना है। यूरोपियन यूनियन और खलीजी तावन काउंसिल के साथ हम रिश्ते मजबूत करेंगे।
It's clear why. Pakistan needs more help from the Western institutions like the IMF or the International Monetary Fund. So he's cozying up to the US. Last year he secured an IMF loan worth $3 billion, but chances are he will need another one. There is talk of a $6 billion IMF bailout. The US and its allies may help Shehbaz Sharif get that money, but even with it, things won't be easy. You see, Pakistan's inflation is almost 24%. They have a lot of bills to pay in the next financial year. How much? Around $25 billion. So ideally, Pakistan needs to implement a lot of reforms, what experts call the bitter pill. But for that, you need to be popular. You have to have a large mandate. Shehbaz and company do not have that. They're being propped up by a reluctant ally, the Pakistan People's Party of the Bhutto Zardaris. So will they risk unpopular reforms or will they stick to the status quo? That's the biggest thing to watch out for. As for India, there's nothing much to do. We are heading into another election soon. Plus, Pakistan is not really priority like before. Earlier, we would see Pakistan feature prominently in Indian campaigns. There was talk of the Pakistan question. But that's not the case anymore. The new focus is on other partners and rivals like the Quad or the G20 or China and Canada. So don't expect India to rush for a reset either. New Delhi will probably observe how things develop across the border, what the new government is up to, what it says and does, and then react accordingly. Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar hinted at this recently.
Our problem in the neighborhood, very honestly, is in respect of one country. And, and in diplomacy, you always hold out hopes that, yes, okay, keep at it, and who knows one day, what the future holds.
Clearly interesting times ahead, also challenging times if you're Shehbaz Sharif. He is known to be the logistics man in Pakistan, an able administrator. But he is hamstrung by multiple challenges, a weak mandate, a lack of popularity, a weakened army, and an immensely popular rival. So his appointment as Prime Minister is far from a new beginning. It's old wine in an even older bottle. Our next story is about Japan. Last month, the country slipped into recession. Japan fell behind Germany and fell from the 3rd to the 4th spot in the global GDP rankings, meaning Japan is now the 4th largest economy in the world. Germany, which is also on the brink of recession, has taken the 3rd spot. So Japan's economy is shrinking. But Japan's stock markets are soaring. It's quite a contrast. Japan's Nikkei is smashing records. For the first time in its history, the index has crossed the 40,000 mark, 40,000. Their last peak was some 35 years back in 1989. That's when Japan's markets touched a high. Their last all-time high was around 39,000. So it's taken them 35 years to enter a bull run. But why now? What explains this surge when the economy is struggling? Why are the stocks soaring? Well, 3 things. 1, a rush of foreign investment. 2, better returns for shareholders. And 3, a weak yen. That's the Japanese currency. Let's try to understand this through the example of Toyota, the Japanese car maker. Last month, Toyota became Japan's most valued company. Do you know how much Toyota is worth? More than $300 billion. Its stock is in high demand. So the share price has jumped by 15% this year. And who's buying these Toyota shares? Mostly foreign investors. The company has been posting good numbers. It expects a solid jump in profits, a jump of some 65%. Also, sales have jumped. Toyota is in expansion mode. It is investing in emerging markets and in emerging technologies like electric vehicles. Last year, Japan's currency, the yen, fell. It slipped to a multi-decade low, and a recovery is nowhere in sight. And Toyota has benefited from this because exporting cars has become cheaper. And this is not a unique case. Toyota is not the only company that has benefited. The entire stock market in Japan has made gains. Foreign investors are pouring in big money. In January, they invested $14 billion into Japanese stocks. Japanese companies are reporting strong results. Their earnings rose by 45% in the last 3 months of 2023. Plus, marquee investors are turning to Japan. I'm talking about the likes of Warren Buffett. His company is buying more Japanese stocks. In 2020, he invested around $6 billion in Japan. Today, that number touched $17 billion, from $6 to $17 billion in 4 years. These are large investments, and they look set to continue. And it's not just Japanese companies that want to make the most of it. Japan's Prime Minister is also trying to ride this bull run.
It is encouraging to see the market's positive response to our efforts and the transformation of the Japanese economy. This year is a critical time for this trend to take root. The government is committed to achieving a virtuous cycle that includes structural wage increases.
So the soaring stock markets make for good headlines. But a strong stock market does not necessarily mean a strong economy. And Japan is the best example to understand that. Stock markets run on sentiment, on company results, on profits. And while investors and businesses are getting rich, the people of Japan are not. Inflation has been high and savings are going down. The household savings rate has turned negative in Japan. Factories in the country are also producing fewer goods because people are buying less. 4 days back, Tokyo released the latest numbers. Japan's factory output fell at its fastest pace in nearly 4 years. Japan also has the world's oldest population. This has serious repercussions on the economy. An aging population strains a country's finances. It shrinks the tax base and increases the expenses. At this rate, Japan will spend more on healthcare and pensions. So stocks are going up, the economy is shrinking, the Prime Minister needs to intervene. He has a narrow window of opportunity to reverse Japan's decline and revive its economy. He must act now. Without the right moves, the bull run in the Japanese market will be reduced to just a bubble. Vantage continues after a short break.
In the house, or in fact, a speech after taking right.
All right, I think we lost connection with Ananya over there. But if we were to talk about this big breaking news coming in straight from the Apex Court is about the unanimous verdict by 7-judge bench on bribes for vote case. All right, we have Ananya back with us on the broadcast. Ananya, you were saying something over the Supreme Court's recent order. Would you like to read it again for our viewers?
Well, definitely. I was reading down the part and portions of the order that the Chief Justice of India himself read. Where it has very, very categorically been stated that, bribery is not rendered illegal under Article 195 over 19 of the Constitution. They also go on to say that bribery erodes the probity in public life and has now overruled the 1998 judgment in the PV Narasimha Rao case where, MPs and MLAs were given particular immunity if they had casted a vote or given a speech after taking a bribe. However, the Supreme Court has clarified that the offence of bribery, starts and ends when a bribe is actually taken, and that's exactly why no kind of immunity can be granted to any kind of MP or a MLA if at all they take a bribe and cast a vote or give a speech in the Parliament of India. So that is a big Parliament or any kind of a house, legislative house, is what the Supreme Court has gone on to say. So big judgment coming in the immunity that until now the MPs and MLAs enjoyed when it comes to bribery for casting a vote or giving a speech in the Parliament or in any kind of a legislative house is now completely gone. The Supreme Court goes on to say that it's an agnostic offence, and that's the reason why no kind of immunity can be actually granted.
Right, and just for the better perspective of our viewers, Ananya, could you take us back to the 1998's verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case?
Well, definitely. The 1998 verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case was a 3-2 verdict that was given by, in fact, the Supreme Court, where, it was said that the parliamentarians are immune when it comes to taking a bribe for giving, for giving a speech or casting a vote in the House. Is what that judgment had said, and challenging that particular judgment, appeal was made here in the Supreme Court of India. First, 3 judges bench of the Supreme Court, and then 7 judges bench of the top court of the country has now very clearly and categorically in a unanimous verdict has stated that no kind of immunity can be enjoyed when it comes to, in fact, an offence of bribery.
Big breaking news now coming in. Well, we are learning that unanimous verdict by 7-judge bench on bribes for vote case is out. Supreme Court has in fact overruled the 1998 verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case. The apex court was deciding if lawmakers have immunity from prosecution for taking bribe to make speech, cast vote in house, whether legal immunity enjoyed by legislator under Article 105 and 194 protects them from prosecution for taking bribes or not. We have CNN News 18's legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, please help us put that into perspective for our viewers.
Well, definitely, this is a very, very crucial verdict that is now coming from the top of the country. There was Sheeta Soren, who was a member of the JMM, who had, in fact, knocked the Supreme Court. The matter had travelled from the legal bench to finally within this bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, Dr. D.Y. Chandrasekhar. Now, when the categorically starts to be clarified that no kind of immunity is enjoyed by any parliamentarian when it comes to taking bribes for giving a vote in the parliament, in the house, or taking a bribe for giving a speech in the house. So that is the immunity that existed. The 1998 judgment in the PV Narasimha Rao case does not exist now. Is what the Supreme Court is very, very categorically stated, very clearly putting down.
On Friday, a foreign tourist in India put up a video on Instagram. She was talking about her travels in India and she had bruises on her face. She had been gang raped by 7 men during her trip. This incident happened in the state of Jharkhand. Her husband, who was with her, was beaten up badly. The story led to a lot of outrage and condemnation. The authorities swung into action. 3 of the accused have been caught. 4 others are on the run. Now, this is not the first such incident in the country. Chances are it won't be the last. Every 18 minutes, a woman is raped in India. This is data from the government of India. And this incident has sparked a fierce debate on social media about women's safety and women tourists. Our next report has more.
5 years, 63 countries, 170,000 kilometers. This couple began their world tour half a decade ago. They boarded their bikes and never looked back. But their journey took a horrible turn last week. The woman and her husband were on a biking trip in India. They were travelling from West Bengal to Nepal. On their way, they stopped in Jharkhand. It was around 5 p.m, so they decided to spend the night there. They set up a temporary camp and were preparing to go to bed. That's when 7 men entered their tent. They beat the couple, they robbed them, they raped the woman and threatened to kill the duo. At around 11 p.m, the couple flagged down a patrol van. The patrolling team couldn't understand what they said, but they looked visibly injured, so the van took them for treatment. That's when the couple told the doctors about the rape, prompting the police to jump into action. 3 of those men have been arrested and 4 are still on the run. The woman is a dual national. The Brazilian embassy was informed, and so was the Spanish embassy, as the couple used Spanish passports to enter India. Over the weekend, the 28-year-old took to social media. She put up a video on her Instagram page. It was in Spanish. She talked about her ordeal. She showed the bruises on her face and how glad she was to be alive. Her husband posted a similar video. The videos are not on their page anymore, but it sparked a fierce debate. Is India safe for women tourists? Over the weekend, Indians and foreigners shared their stories. They all had one thing in common: how they faced sexual harassment or have been a witness to it. One such post got a response from the Chief of India's National Commission for Women. Rekha Sharma commented on the post. She questioned why the person didn't report it and asked them to not defame the whole country. But was the tweet defaming India? Or are these heinous incidents doing that? In 2023, a Korean vlogger was sexually harassed in Rajasthan. That same year, a Dutch tourist was molested and stabbed in Goa. In 2018, a British tourist was raped in Goa too. In 2016, an American woman alleged she was gang raped in a hotel in the national capital. In 2013, a Swiss tourist was gang raped by 6 men. They were later sentenced to life in prison. And it's not just foreign tourists. Indian women have faced the brunt as well. Every day, an average of 90 rapes are recorded. In 2013, the country amended its rape law. It broadened the definition. It brought in new punishments for sexual assault and stalking. Yet, it hasn't changed much on the ground. This latest incident could lead to more policing, more awareness, stronger condemnation, and more conversation both on social media and off it. But the fact of the matter is, every 18 minutes, a woman is raped in India. We will need much more than conversation and half-baked measures to deal with the issue.
This weekend, Gaza witnessed some unprecedented scenes. 3 US planes flew over the Strip. Once they were close to the coastline, they airdropped bundles. Take a look at this. That was food and aid for the Gaza Strip, a total of 38,000 meals. Hardly enough for 1 million starving people. But it's a first for America. For the first time in about 5 months, the US is dropping aid into the Gaza Strip. President Joe Biden says it will be the first of many. But why now? Why after 5 months? It's because the sentiment is shifting. The Gaza war began on October 7th. It's been 150 days. 30,000 people have been killed. That's 1 out of every 75 people. Over 8,000 are missing. And Israel's strikes show no signs of ending. On Thursday, 112 people were killed. Why? Because they rushed towards an aid convoy. Israel says it was a stampede. That's how they died. Eyewitnesses say Israeli forces fired at these people. It's hard to establish the truth, but one thing is evident. This war cannot go on for much longer like this. Gaza is on the verge of famine, and if the world does not intervene, its people will starve to death.
The Israeli government must do more to significantly increase the flow of aid. No excuses. They must open new border crossings. They must not impose any unnecessary restrictions on the delivery of aid. They must ensure humanitarian personnel, sites, and convoys are not targeted. And they must work to restore basic services and promote order in Gaza so more food, water, and fuel can reach those in need.
Israel has no excuses. That's what the US Vice President says. It's a rare rebuke. Israel, after all, is America's closest ally. They have supported them for 5 months. But now the Americans do not sound so enthusiastic. It's an election year in the US, after all, and the Democrats are losing support over this war. It's a big price to pay for an ally. Plus, their Western partners are calling for a ceasefire. Hence the changing tone in Washington. Kamala Harris will also have a meeting today with Benny Gantz, a senior member of the Israeli war cabinet. He's also Benjamin Netanyahu's main political rival. Polls suggest if elections were to be held today in Israel, Benny Gantz would win, not Netanyahu. He would beat Netanyahu. And right now he's in Washington, meeting the top leadership. The White House says it is a routine visit, but Israeli media says it happened without Netanyahu's permission. So chances are it's a signal. It's a sign to Netanyahu to slow down the military campaign. And it's not the only thing that the US is doing at the moment. This weekend, they tried to mediate a peace deal. The talks were held in Cairo. There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of backdoor diplomacy, but the goal was simple, a pause in fighting. And who attended these talks? The Hamas was there, so was the US. A Qatari delegation was mediating, but the Israeli side was missing. Do you know why? Because they wanted some assurances from Hamas, assurances that they did not get. I'll tell you about that in a bit. But first, let's look at the peace deal. What do they want to achieve? The framework is quite simple. A 6-week pause in fighting, the release of Israeli hostages, the exchange of Palestinian prisoners, and aid moving into Gaza. But will they be able to strike this deal? On Saturday, US reports suggested that Israel had nearly accepted it. The source was an unnamed official. They said the ball was now in Hamas's court. On Sunday, they were supposed to meet in Cairo, but Israel did not show up on Sunday. It wanted an assurance about the fate of hostages. It wanted to know how many hostages are alive. Hamas could not offer that assurance, so the Israeli delegation backed out. Hamas, on the other hand, has set its own conditions, 3 of them. 1, a permanent ceasefire. 2, withdrawal of Israeli troops. And 3, the return of Gaza citizens to the north. Of course, Israel does not agree with much of it, which explains the meeting in Cairo.
Any flexibility that we show in the negotiation is out of concern for the blood of our people and to put an end to their big pains and the sacrifices. But this comes in parallel with full readiness to defend our people. Any threats of committing new massacres in Rafah reaffirms the nature of the enemy and its criminal army.
So does that mean that the ceasefire deal is dead? Well, not yet. Negotiations are still on. Regional powers are at it. The plan is to secure a truce by Ramadan, which is a holy month for Muslims. It starts next week. Will it bring peace to Gaza? I guess we'll find out soon enough. Back to India and a unique act of diplomatic outreach. The Indian subcontinent is the birthplace of 4 major religions: Hinduism, Sikhism, Jainism and Buddhism. While 3 of them have their strongholds at home in India, one is revered in almost every corner of Asia. We're talking about Buddhism. It ties India with most Asian nations like Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Cambodia and Thailand. It links the people together spiritually, and the government of India knows this, which is why it has been championing Buddhist outreach. Indian relics of the Buddha are currently in Thailand. They reached the city of Chiang Mai today. It's part of a 26-day tour of Thailand, and the Thai people have been gathering in the thousands to pay their respects. Here's our report.
Buddhism is a religion based on the teachings of the Buddha. Siddhartha Gautama was once a prince, but he renounced his kingdom and became a philosopher. His life was spent in India, spreading wisdom. He attained enlightenment in what is today Bodh Gaya, becoming the Buddha. He also left Earth in the cycle of death and rebirth behind in India, in Kushinagar, in present-day Uttar Pradesh. When he died, his body didn't disappear completely. There are parts of him still on Earth, bone fragments that survived cremation. And a few have been discovered by archaeologists over time. Today, we call these bone fragments of the Buddha relics. India has 20 of them, and they are sacred to Buddhists everywhere, which is why India has been championing a diplomatic initiative. It is loaning out these relics to Buddhist nations, so that their devotees can have a chance to pay their respects. 4 of India's 20 Buddha relics are in Thailand, to the great joy of thousands of Buddhists there. The relics arrived in Thailand's capital Bangkok last month, on the 22nd of February. They were received by Thailand's Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin. The relics were then put on display in a special pavilion on the royal grounds next to the Bangkok Palace. Hundreds of thousands of devotees have been flocking there since to pay their respects. The Bangkok leg of the journey concluded yesterday. A crowd of almost 150,000 made their way to the pavilion to catch the last glimpse in Bangkok. The relics are still in Thailand, but they have been moved to Chiang Mai. They arrived there today, receiving a grand welcome. They will be on display in Chiang Mai till the 8th. After that, they will go to Ubon Ratchathani and then Krabi. They will return to India on the 19th of March, concluding an almost month-long tour. This outreach isn't just for Thai Buddhists. People from nearby nations like Laos, Cambodia and Vietnam have also been invited to see the relics. It is an initiative that brings the people of the region together and forges a greater bond with India. That's why these delicate relics are being sent to various Buddhist nations. Last year they were sent to Mongolia. Before that, they have toured Sri Lanka, South Korea and Singapore as well. Every time, they have drawn sizable crowds. The Buddhist outreach is both diplomatically and economically advantageous. Aside from forging closer people-to-people ties, it also reminds people of Buddhism's intrinsic ties to India. The Indian contingent travelling with the relics has also been setting up exhibits, showcasing the different pilgrimage sites. 3 of the 4 major Buddhist sites are in India. Bodh Gaya, where the Buddha attained enlightenment, is already a major draw. Kushinagar, where he passed away, is also a pilgrimage site. Then there is Sarnath, where he delivered his first sermon. All these sites are in India. The Relic Outreach Program is a reminder of this. This way, the Buddhist ties may turn out to be a boost for tourism, and India's rich heritage may benefit people from around the world.
We know that the AI age has started. Well, so has the age of regulating it. And guess who's starting things off? India. The Indian government has issued an advisory for AI companies. We haven't seen the exact details, but 2 things stand out. Number 1, you need permission to roll out beta models. These are products still under development. Suppose you're making an AI platform, something like ChatGPT. Earlier, you could just release it on the internet. People could access it, use it, and point out your mistakes. But the government says not anymore. It wants tech firms to take permission first. Not for all AI models, though. This rule is largely for large AI models. If you are an artificial intelligence startup, it doesn't apply to you. Now the second thing, labeling. Artificial intelligence models must carry disclaimers. We know that they can be unreliable and inaccurate, so the government wants these companies to say that. Like the warning labels on cigarette boxes. Now why is this advisory important? A, because it's a global first, the first country in the world to do this. Most countries agree that we need to regulate AI, but they don't know how to do it. So India has gone ahead and done it. And B, because it will have far-reaching implications on the AI landscape. Because most companies hate regulation. They think it slows down innovation. So the fear is, what if the same happens to India's AI industry? What if the rules scare away investors? What if it discourages talent? These are all genuine worries among industry leaders, so let's try and address them tonight. For starters, these are not rules yet. This is still an advisory by the Information Technology Ministry, meaning it's not legally binding, not yet. But for how much longer, we don't know. Usually, advisories tell you what a government is planning. If it's a suggestion today, it could be a rule tomorrow. Secondly, this is not about throttling artificial intelligence, it's about making it safer. Let me quote what the IT minister is saying. Public internet should not be conflated with a sandbox insofar as unlawful content is concerned. India's ambitions in AI and ensuring internet users get a safe and trusted internet are not binaries. That's what the minister said. What does it mean? You can have innovation and safety. You don't have to choose between them. Let me explain. India's IT rules apply to firms developing artificial intelligence models. And what do the rules say? You can't show content that can cause harm, that can trigger violence or worse. If you do, you can be sued. We saw an example recently. Google's AI model said Prime Minister Modi's policies were fascist. Clearly, it was false and triggering. The IT minister said it was a violation of India's IT rules. So technically, Google could have been sued. But this puts AI firms in a tough spot. Their models have to be tested in the real world. But if those models make errors, the company can be sued. So the government is suggesting a middle ground. Take our permission, label your models as possibly unreliable, then roll them out. But like I said, experts are still worried. The CEO of Abacus AI says, and I'm quoting, India just kissed its future goodbye. The creator of private LLM says this. What a way to put the brakes on AI in India, a sad day for progress. Are these concerns genuine? I'm afraid there isn't a yes or no answer. There is no question that regulation is needed. It is. AI cannot be the Wild West. So you had to start somewhere. In that sense, the advisory is a good start. It shows that the government is thinking about the problem. The only worry is, has it gone too far? We'll have to observe how this advisory is implemented, how the permissions are given, and also how the tech companies and investors respond to this move. Not on social media, but in reality. That will give us the full picture. But I will say this, in such issues, clarity always helps. You want the message to be crystal clear. In this case, it was not clear. When the news broke, the tech industry went into meltdown. They did not know what this advisory meant or how it would affect them. So the IT minister had to issue clarifications. He posted 2 separate messages on social media. Maybe that confusion could have been avoided. Having said that, let's not villainize regulation. I know it's a bad word in the free market dictionary, but it also keeps the internet safe. Our next story is from Haiti. The Caribbean island nation is in chaos. For days, Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, has been under attack. A gang leader called Barbecue is cooking up a storm there. He has directed various gangs to attack the government, Haiti's international airport, and even jails. Yesterday, 2 prisons were besieged. The guards eventually fled, and about 4,000 inmates were let loose. Haiti's government has declared a state of emergency. They're trying to bring order back to Port-au-Prince. But the gangs they face control about 80% of the capital. Our next report has the details.
The entire law and order mechanism seems to have broken down in Haiti. The country looks to be in the middle of a coup led by armed gangs. They say they want one thing, the ouster of Prime Minister Ariel Henry.
We are demanding that the police and the military take responsibility and arrest Ariel Henry. Men with weapons are not your enemy. Arrest Ariel Henry and you will see how these weapons are not to cause any harm. They are the symbol of our freedom.
That was gang leader Jimmy Cherizier, who also goes by the name Barbecue. He was once an elite police officer, and now he's become a spokesperson for the gangs of Haiti. The gangs seem to have come together. They're coordinating their attacks on the capital, Port-au-Prince. They've been besieging police stations, targeting Haiti's international airport. And yesterday, they conducted their boldest attack yet. They attacked 2 prisons and set the inmates free. One prison was in the capital, the National Penitentiary. The other jail was on the outskirts of Port-au-Prince. Combined, the prisons held about 5,000 prisoners. Most of them are now free. The attack on the National Penitentiary left some prisoners dead and many injured.
Oh, a lot of shooting. A lot of people died. A lot of deaths around the prison. All around the prison.
I received a bullet here and another a little higher up. I was hit yesterday at 9 p.m. I'm suffering.
About 100 chose to stay behind in the prison, but almost 4,000 escaped from this national penitentiary. It prompted the Haitian government to declare a state of emergency yesterday. The emergency will last till Tuesday. There's a curfew in place. The police are trying to bring back some order. They've reached out to the Haitian military for help, but the situation remains precarious. Now, you may wonder, what has led to this state of affairs? Why do the gangs want to get rid of Henry? Ariel Henry is both the Prime Minister and acting President of Haiti. The problem is, he was unelected. He was appointed Prime Minister by the former President, Jovenel Moïse. Moïse was assassinated 2 days after this appointment. Henry was supposed to hold elections, but he's been delaying them. And this is the justification the gangs are using for their violence. There's also another reason why the gangs are acting up. Last Thursday, Henri went to Kenya. He signed a deal with Kenyan President William Ruto. It will allow Kenya to send police officers to Haiti as the head of a multinational force. This force has been tasked by the UN to bring order to Haiti. And of course, this will affect the gangs. These gangs have overrun Port-au-Prince. They control 80% of the Haitian capital. The Kenya-led force will push back against them. To avoid this, the gangs are unleashing their fury. They hope to prevent Henri from bringing back law and order. Now it seems to have become a race between the Haitian PM and these gangs to see who can oust the other first.
Vantage continues after a short break.
Saying that MPs and PDs can't claim immunity from prosecution on charges of bribery in connection with a vote for speech in the Legislative House. They also go on to say that bribery is not rendered under Article 105 Part 2 or 194 of the Constitution of India. Bribery erodes probity in the public life, and the offence of bribery is agnostic, and it does not matter whether the vote is cast in a certain direction or not cast at all. Bribery cases complete when price is accepted is what the Chief Justice of India has said. The 7-judge bench has said it is very unanimous verdict. No defense is there, and very clearly and categorically that judgment of 1998 of PV Narasimha Rao has been set out. If it all from now on, any kind of a parliamentary right to start the vote in the House, or in fact, a speech after taking right.
All right, I think we lost connection with Ananya over there. But if we were to talk about this big breaking news coming in straight from the Apex Court is about the unanimous verdict by 7-judge bench on bribes for vote case. All right, we have Ananya back with us on the broadcast. Ananya, you were saying something over the Supreme Court's recent order. Would you like to read it again for our viewers?
Well, definitely. I was reading down the part and portions of the order that the Chief Justice of India himself read. Where it has very, very categorically been stated that, the bribery is not rendered illegal under Article 195 or 196 of the Constitution. They also go on to say that bribery erodes the probity in public life, and now overruled the 1998 judgment in the PV Narasimha Rao case where MPs and MLAs were given particular immunity if they had casted a vote or given a speech after taking a bribe. However, the Supreme Court has clarified that the offence of bribery, starts and ends when a bribe is actually taken, and that's exactly why no kind of immunity can be granted to any kind of MP or a MLA if at all they take a bribe and cast a vote or give a speech in the Parliament of India. So that is a big Parliament or any kind of a house, legislative house, is what the Supreme Court has gone on to say. So big judgment coming in the immunity that until now the MPs and MLAs enjoyed when it comes to bribery for casting a vote or giving a speech in the Parliament or in any kind of a legislative house is now completely gone. The Supreme Court goes on to say that it's an agnostic offence, and that's the reason why no kind of immunity can be actually granted.
Right, and just for the better perspective of our viewers, Ananya, could you take us back to the 1998's verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case?
Well, definitely. The 1998 verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case was a 3-2 verdict that was given by, in fact, the Supreme Court, where, it was said that the parliamentarians are immune when it comes to taking a bribe for giving, for giving a speech or casting a vote in the House. Is what that judgment had said, and challenging that particular judgment, appeal was made here in the Supreme Court of India first, 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court, and then 7-judge bench of the topmost of the country has now very clearly and categorically in a unanimous verdict has stated that no kind of immunity can be enjoyed when it comes to, in fact, an offence of bribery.
Big breaking news now coming in. Well, we are learning that unanimous verdict by 7-judge bench on bribes for vote case is out. Supreme Court has in fact overruled the 1998 verdict in the PV Narasimha Rao case. The Apex Court was deciding if lawmakers have immunity from prosecution for taking bribe to make speech, cast vote in House, whether legal immunity enjoyed by legislator under Article 105 and 194 protects them from prosecution for taking bribes or not. We have CNN News 18's legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar joining us on the broadcast.
And now it's time for Vantage Shots, images that tell the story. In Wales, a shimmering curtain of northern lights lit up the night sky. In South Korea, crowds bid farewell to a giant panda before her return to China. And Hanoi becomes the world's most polluted city as smog blankets the streets. Finally, we're taking you back in history on this day. In 1789, the US Constitution went into effect. It became the governing law of the country. The Constitution was written in Philadelphia by delegates representing 12 states. It is one of the oldest constitutions in the world. We're leaving you on that note. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to the late night edition with me Ayushman Singh Jamwal. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news coming in when it comes to the pro-Pakistan slogan controversy from the state of Karnataka. Now a major twist in the entire saga concerning pro-Pakistan slogans. The Pakistan Zindabad slogan war between the BJP and the Congress party in the state of Karnataka. Now 3 suspects have been arrested based on the forensic report of the alleged video where the supporters of Congress candidate Nasir Hussain allegedly shouted the slogans after he won the Rajya Sabha elections. Now the DCP of the Central Bengaluru City Police has said that the forensic report confirms that the slogans were raised, adding that the report corroborates witness statements. This comes after Nasir Hussain denied the charges and said that his supporters shouted Nasir Sahib Zindabad, Nasir Hussain Zindabad and Congress Party Zindabad slogans and not pro-Pakistan slogans. So that is the piece of breaking news that's coming in, where this forensic report has been a major twister in this saga. I'm joined by my colleague Harish Upadhyay to get more details. Harish, over to you. The Congress Party has a lot to answer for now.
Absolutely, and the BJP is claiming credit for it. It's saying that it is the one which forced the state Congress government to go ahead and arrest these people. Remember, earlier in the day, the BJP released a report from a private lab from one of the RSS-affiliated organizations' petition asking that video to be verified by this private lab. On the other hand, you have Home Minister G. Parmeshwara claiming that he's not aware of the arrest, and his reasoning was that they had given a free hand to the police to arrest anybody who's guilty if the report did mention that there were pro-Pakistan slogans. Now, 3 of them have been arrested. We'll have to see if any of them were direct members of the Congress Party or whether it's supporters and others who had come to the Vidhan Sabha.
Right, but Harish, at the same time, the Congress Party is poking holes in the fact that you just pointed out that this was a report from a private lab. But at the same time, for a DCP of the Karnataka police to say that this confirms pro-Pakistan slogans, this does put them on the back foot.
Yes, but the DCP would have made these arrests based on the findings of the state government-owned FSL lab. That which hasn't been made public, but if you go by the statement of DCP Central of Bangalore Police, he's saying that all the 3 have been arrested based on the forensic science lab report, circumstantial evidence, eyewitness accounts and other evidence. So clearly there was a lot to suggest that there were pro-Pakistan slogans, and the police now confirming that they have evidence to prove that. Even as we speak, all the 3 have been produced before the magistrate in Koramangala and Bengaluru. We'll have to see if they will be given to police remand or if they'll be sent to judicial custody.
Right. Thank you, Harish, for getting us that piece of breaking news. So beyond the private report that the BJP has put forward, the DCP has also confirmed that there is enough circumstantial evidence to arrest the 3 suspects. Now, we'll have to wait and see whether these 3 suspects are linked to the Congress Party directly, because at the end of the day, Nasir Hussain has made it very clear his supporters did not chant pro-Pakistan slogans, but the BJP also taking advantage of this fact with this report coming out saying that the Congress Party has now been exposed. But shifting focus, ladies and gentlemen, another piece of breaking news that's coming in. Chaos erupted in the Punjab Assembly after Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann handed over a lock and key to the Assembly Speaker to keep opposition MLAs inside the House during the budget discussion. The Chief Minister and Leader of the Opposition, Pratap Singh Bajwa, had a heated exchange inside the Assembly. The Congress leader claimed that the Chief Minister used offensive remarks against opposition leaders, namely those from the Dalit community. Listen in.
चलो ऐ करो यही डिबेट करनी है बैठो बैठो जिथे झूठ होया टोक दियो जिथे झूठ होया टोक दियो हां ठेका ले रखे तुसी भारत दी राजनीति दा हां समगलरां कीतियां होईयां पुरानी देखो जी कहने असी कहा जा मटीरियल आ गया चुप कर जाओ हां मानयोग मुख्यमंत्री साहब हां बंदे पुत्रा ने तुसी गल करो हां माइंड योर लैंग्वेज माइंड योर लैंग्वेज माइंड योर लैंग्वेज
कि इन्होंने एक मेरे दलित कुलीग नूं मेरे एस्टीम्ड कुलीग नूं सर सुखविंदर सिंह कोटली साहब आदमपुर के साडे MLA मेरे सज्जे हथ खड़े ने उन्होंने जदों इन्हां दे एक MLA निहाल सिंह वाले हल्के तो बिलासपुर साहब गल कर रहे सी गवर्नर के एड्रैस से उदों इन्होंने मंग की भगवंत मान जी तुसी तुहाडी पार्टी ने तो तुसी वादा कीता सी असीं हाउस का बाइकआउट करके आए हैं ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਮੰਗ ਕਰਨੇ ਕਿ ਭਗਵੰਤ ਮਾਨ ਕੋ ਅੱਜ ਅਸਤੀਫਾ ਲਿਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਭਗਵੰਤ ਮਾਨ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਲੜੇਗਾ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਲੜੇਗਾ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਲੜਾਂਗਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਇਹ ਪੇਸ਼ਕਸ਼ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਅਦਾ ਹੈ
में हम तो अपनी नारेबाजी कर रहे हैं अपनी बात रख रहे हैं और हम बाहर नहीं आए लेकिन जब वो सारा हमारी समाज कौम का अपमान करेंगे तो कहने इनका दिमाग खराब हो गया है इनको जुत्ती संगाओ तो फिर ये बात ठीक नहीं है सीएम साहब के लिए, हम कभी बर्दाश्त नहीं करेंगे। सीएम साहब आपको कभी दलित समाज कभी माफ नहीं करेगा।
And I'm joined by my colleague Aman Bharadwaj on the broadcast. So Aman, alliance in Delhi, but a showdown between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress in the state of Punjab. How did all of this erupt?
See, it began by the several issues that are related to Punjab, because in back days there were major concerns that are related to Congress also, and there were many questions that Congress raised to Aam Aadmi Party government, but Vidhan Sabha was one of the major concerned place for perfect debate on Punjab's issue. But that doesn't seem to be concluding today, and from 1st of March, because on day one only, Congress demanded for discussion on several issues of Punjab, including farming or the revenue generating or the budget that has to be allocated to different departments of Punjab. But that doesn't seem to be concluded, and issue seems to be demotivated by the government or the government minister or the chief minister. So because of that, the heated arguments took place today, where CM went on to statements that the alliance in Kurukshetra or Delhi or other states, that Congress and Aam Aadmi Party is fighting together in a collision or in a coordination, can be brought down. So that was the main conclusion of today's heated argument, and several personal statements and defamatory statements can say made to each other, where CM Bhagwant Mann went on saying that the Congress leaders, that the statement they are making should be locked inside Vidhan Sabha, because they are not ready for any democratic discussions that to be took place in Vidhan Sabha. One of the leaders who belongs from SC category was made on defamatory remarks. That was a major allegation against the CM. And also Pratap Singh Bajwa, who is the leader of opposition, went on saying that he'll fight against Bhagwant Mann from any seat in Punjab. So that all went on the heat today, the arguments which we saw in Vidhan Sabha, and it concluded in a way where Bhagwant Mann said that they are ready for not fighting elections together in Haryana or other state or Delhi, that the behavior of the Congress leader in Punjab seems to be in the aggression that was shown to Bhagwant Mann.
Right, so those visuals on your screen, you can see a very aggressive Bhagwant Mann facing off with Pratap Singh Bajwa and other Congress MLAs. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, the Congress party state unit has made this pitch time and again that there can't be any alliance with the Aam Aadmi Party. But will the state unit now impress upon the High Command in Delhi that there should be no alliance with the Aam Aadmi Party, given the fact this level of acrimony exists in the state of Punjab, where Congress MLAs are even saying that Bhagwant Mann has insulted their Dalit MLAs. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But shifting focus to some more breaking news now coming in. Now, the Jharkhand High Court has taken suo motu cognizance of a Spanish woman's alleged gang rape case in Dumka. This was emerging from Dumka in the state of Jharkhand, ladies and gentlemen. The court has said, and I quote, crimes against foreign nationals will have serious national and international repercussions, is the pitch that has come in from the Jharkhand High Court. A sex-related crime against a foreign woman can tarnish the image of India across the globe. That's what the Jharkhand High Court has said when it comes to this horrific case that has emerged from Dumka in the state, where a Spanish woman has alleged gang rape, that she was sexually assaulted by 7 men. Now what we are learning is that 3 of the suspects have been taken into custody, 4 are absconding, and now the Jharkhand High Court has taken suo motu cognizance of this entire case. The Jharkhand High Court has said, and I quote, crimes against foreign nationals will have serious national and international repercussions. A sex-related crime against a foreign woman can tarnish the image of India across the globe. I'm joined by my colleague Saurabh Rathore on the broadcast. Saurabh, give us the details.
See, Ashman, I would still say that it's very shocking that only 3 of the 7 accused have been arrested so far. All the 4 accused, and these 3 accused had been arrested day before yesterday. So it's almost 2 days, more than that. And after that, 4 accused are still absconding. Now today the Jharkhand High Court took suo motu cognizance and of the Spanish woman's gang rape case in Dumka, and the court had directed the Superintendent of Police SP to file a status report about the incident by Thursday, that is on March 7. And a division bench of Acting Chief Justice S. Chandrasekhar and Justice Navneet Kumar, they had issued notices to the Chief Secretary, Director General of Police and Home Secretary as well, besides Dumka SP as respondent in this matter. And the bench has also appointed Advocate Ritu Kumar as amicus in the matter. And also importantly, Ayushman, that the Victim Compensation Committee, which was chaired by the district judge, had approved the payment of rupees 10 lakh as the compensation, which the check of which was later given by the administration. And very importantly, the Jharkhand High Court has quoted in its order that crime against the foreign nationals will have serious national and international repercussions impacting the tourism economy of the country. In fact, the order goes on to say that the High Court order, the sex-related crime against foreign women can tarnish the image of India across the globe. And this was observed by the High Court, and now we see that the High Court has asked for a report by March 7 by all the the big from the administration as well as from the state of Jharkhand in this matter.
Right, so strong words coming in from the Jharkhand High Court in the wake of this very shocking crime coming in from Dumka, where a Spanish woman has alleged she was gang raped by 7 individuals. Now 3 have been arrested, 4 are still absconding, but the Jharkhand High Court has taken suo motu cognizance of this case and has sought a report from the DGP of the state as well as the Chief Secretary of the state government and other top officials of the entire state machinery. We will continue to track all the developments which are coming in, but shifting focus, 3 days later, ladies and gentlemen, the Bengaluru Rameshwara Cafe blast probe continues. This is the Rameshwaram Cafe in Bangalore, ladies and gentlemen, which was rocked by a blast on the 1st of March. The NIA has now taken over the investigation. Now, new CCTV footage has also surfaced in which the suspect can be seen entering the cafe at around 11:34 a.m. on the 1st of March. He stayed inside the cafe for around 9 minutes and left at 11:43 a.m. Now, Karnataka Home Minister G. Parmeshwara held a high-profile meeting with senior police officials and revealed that they have received an important lead and are close to nabbing the accused. The accused on your screen in the middle window, ladies and gentlemen, that is the suspect the police are hunting for. Investigators are using advanced technology to reconstruct the face of the accused as the manhunt continues. Now, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has also said that the authorities are confident about nabbing the culprit within the next 2 to 3 days. The BJP, however, has accused the Congress party of appeasement politics, which they claim has led to the radicalization fueling such crimes. But joining us on the broadcast is Navneet Vasan, former Special Director of the NIA. Thank you, Mr. Vasan, for speaking to us here at CNN News 18. What is your assessment of this case as you've seen the visuals play out since the 1st of March? Is there an indication of an active terror cell behind this attack as per the modus operandi?
See, if you see the past history of Karnataka, and especially of Bangalore, there have been a number of blasts in the past. In the past 5 years, if I remember correctly, there has been as many as 6 blasts. One, the crime branch of Bangalore stated that in 2023 that they have been able to prevent. So there is a long history, both in Bangalore as well as in Karnataka. And looking at the modus operandi, same kind of modus operandi was also adopted at Hyderabad blasts, when a person came on a cycle and he placed the IED device, which was packed in a cooker, packed in a bag, and left at a shop where there was a blast and a number of people were killed. So, as I said in the beginning, it will be premature to draw any definite conclusion, but seeing at the modus operandi and the initial reports which are in public domain, one hypothesis which can be drawn is that this may be an attempt by a terrorist group. They may be testing and they may be planning to do more in view of the forthcoming elections. But that the police, especially the state police, has to be very, very alert. they have to, pull up their socks and see that this kind of incident doesn't take place before elections.
Right. Mr. Wasan, but does the blast, the way it was carried out, require another look for, or a deeper look at the radicalization operations of terror groups, especially in the social media era?
See, not recent time. If you look back for a number of years now, there have been attempts to radicalize youths by different, if I put it crudely, groups with different kind of ideologies. That's the old tactics, whether it was LTT or whether it was, ISI or it was SIMI or any other this kind of organization who believe in violence to achieve their goals. So, unfortunately, the concern is that we have not been able to set in motion efforts to